All right, let's dive right into the hidden evolutionary logic behind your cat's absolute most bizarre behaviors. If you share your home with a cat, you already know they're, well, utterly fascinating. I mean, they sleep for hours, somehow pour themselves into impossibly small spaces, and then randomly sprint down the hall at top speed for literally no reason at all. So it brings up a really fun question. Are cats just delightfully weird, or is it actually biological genius? It's so easy to see them sleeping in a tiny cardboard box or zooming around and just write it off as quirky personality traits. But the truth? Beyond those quirks, every single eccentricity is a highly tuned survival mechanism. They are full of strange and surprising traits that make them one of the most unique animals on the planet.
To figure this out, we're going to look at 4 things today: the feline enigma, their superpowered senses, their bizarre anatomy, and finally, those ancient instincts.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the feline enigma, or living with a mystery.
Because think about it, cats have lived alongside us for thousands of years, yet they still behave in ways that completely defy explanation. Even after millennia of domestication, they're just a profound mystery, seamlessly blending their fierce, wild predator roots with a cozy domestic lifestyle. They're totally happy to snooze on your expensive sofa, sure, but their internal hardwiring? It's exactly the same as a wild creature.
Moving right along to Section 2, superpowered senses, and how they experience a totally different world than we do.
Did you know scientists have discovered that cats completely lack the biological receptors to detect sweet flavors? It's wild. While we humans can easily taste sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami, sweetness is just completely lost on your cats. So when they act super curious about your ice cream or a piece of cake, they aren't after the sugar at all. No, they're actually drawn to the fats and the dairy.
Now let's talk about their ears. A crucial part of their sensory toolkit is the sheer number of muscles housed inside a single feline ear. 30 muscles! To put that in perspective, we humans just have a tiny handful, and most of us can't even wiggle them. But cats? Over 30 muscles in each ear alone. And what do those 30 muscles do? They allow for a staggering 180 degrees of independent rotation. Just think about the mechanics of that for a second.
It literally grants them superpowers. Because they can rotate their ears completely independently, they can pinpoint the exact, precise location of a sound. They can even listen in multiple directions at once. These furry little satellite dishes are an absolute engineering marvel, letting them hear something as incredibly faint as a mouse moving inside a solid wall.
Okay, have you ever caught your cat staring at the wall with its mouth slightly open after sniffing something? It looks so silly, right? Almost like they forgot to close their mouth. Well, this weird expression is called the Fleeman response. See, dads have a special organ on the roof of their mouth called the Jacobson's organ. So when they make that face, they aren't broken. They're actually using this organ to analyze scents in way more detail than their nose alone can handle. It's a highly sophisticated chemical investigation.
And we absolutely can't forget the whiskers. They're definitely not just decorative facial hair. Cats use them to measure openings before trying to squeeze through, to detect nearby objects, to navigate in low light, and even to sense minute changes in air currents. They act as highly sensitive radar systems. Honestly, a cat can perfectly determine if they'll fit through a tiny gap before they even try, just from the sensory feedback of their whiskers.
All right, let's jump to Section 3, bizarre anatomy and movement, because honestly, they're built like nothing else.
You know how human fingerprints have those unique swirling ridges that identify us? Well, every single cat has a completely one-of-a-kind nose print. The tiny ridges and bumps on a cat's nose create a complex pattern that no other cat on Earth shares. Obviously, we don't fingerprint cats at the vet, but your cat is literally carrying around its own built-in ID card right there on its face. It could theoretically be used to identify them.
Then, of course, there's their famous physical agility, specifically the righting reflex. A mid-air fall begins, they dynamically twist their highly flexible bodies in mid-air, and boom, they land safely on their feet. This incredible built-in reflex actually starts developing when kittens are just a few weeks old. Now, a quick word of caution here. While it's a stunning skill, it does not make cats completely immune to injury. Falls from significant heights can still be very, very dangerous.
Okay, this next fact sounds entirely made up, but I promise you it's true. Cats are part of a very exclusive walking club. Most animals alternate sides when they walk, right? But cats walk by moving both legs on one side of their body and then both legs on the other side. Do you know what other animals walk exactly like this? Camels and giraffes. That's it.
This unusual gait places your living room pet in a very strange, very exclusive biological club. Normally, your average cat has 18 toes, 5 on each front paw, 4 on the back. But some cats possess polydactylism, a condition where they're born with extra toes. It makes their paws look almost like they're wearing huge, oversized mittens. But having these extra toes actually transforms their standard paws into heavy-duty climbing gear, giving them some pretty surprising and enhanced climbing abilities.
Now, the science of the purr is just wild. Research shows that the frequency of a cat's purr actually falls within a range associated with tissue repair and bone healing. Yes, you heard that right. There's actual scientific speculation that their purring acts as a built-in therapeutic tool for their own physical recovery. And it goes even further. Some researchers speculate that spending time with a purring cat might have calming therapeutic healing effects on us humans too.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 4. Ancient Instincts Revealed, where we finally decode some of those weird domestic habits.
So, if they are so evolutionarily advanced, with radar whiskers and self-healing purrs, why on earth do they insist on eating grocery bags? It's a question almost every cat owner asks when they catch their pet bizarrely obsessing over licking or chewing on plastic.
Well, experts link this weird habit to a few things. Sometimes it's a condition called pica, which basically drives the consumption of non-food items. But more often than not, it's just a mix of curiosity, a surprisingly satisfying texture, or they're smelling residual food odors left on the plastic. It really goes to show that even a highly sophisticated predator can succumb to simple boredom or odd textural cravings in a domestic setting.
And when you break down a feline's 24-hour cycle, a lot of things start to make sense. The average cat spends between 12 and 16 hours sleeping every single day. But listen, this isn't laziness. For a predator, conserving energy between periods of activity is a deeply ingrained survival strategy. Modern house cats are still carrying around that exact same ancient instinct. Which naturally leads us to the flip side of that coin. If they're conserving all that energy, why do they decide to expend it by turning into tiny furry rockets at 2 in the morning? We have all experienced the dreaded midnight zoomies, but guess what? There's an ancestral clock dictating this midnight chaos. Cats are what we call crepuscular. That's just a fancy word meaning their natural hunting instincts peak during low light hours, specifically dawn and dusk. So when they're racing through the house like a rocket in the middle of the night, they aren't trying to annoy you. Your cat is just responding to a thousands of years old low light hunting schedule, right there in your hallway.
So, from tasting no sweetness to using their whiskers as high-tech measuring devices, cats really are full of strange and wonderful surprises. The next time your cat does something completely baffling, remember, you are watching a perfectly tuned evolutionary masterpiece at work. Which leaves us with this final thought. After unmasking the wild predator living in your house, what other ancient secrets is your cat still hiding from you? Keep observing, keep learning, and thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.